I did a research and I was shocked that 60% of music producers are finishing one track per month, which is 12 tracks in a year. And if you continue learning like this, it's going to take you at least 5 to 10 years to get to a pro level with your music without a guarantee. But in this video, I'm going to share a shortcut so that you can learn music production 10 times faster and in 1 year make more progress than 90% of music producers. And if you practice this technique, you'll be able to create high quality ideas for your music within just 30 minutes like this one. Okay, problem number 1, understand the learning curve. To learn music production fast, you need to go step by step. Increase difficulty gradually so that you can adapt to new knowledge and challenges, like you can see on this diagram, right? The problem that most producers have is that they jump from one thing to another. They go from beginner to advanced to intermediate, and then it's just like it's chaos. So you go to YouTube, you watch countless tutorials, jump from one thing to another, feel overwhelmed because it's too hard and you don't feel progress. You get creative blocks, you learn 10 times slower, and you feel lost and start doubting yourself and your skills, thinking that there's something wrong with you, you doing it wrong, which is not the case. Trust me, I've been there myself. I don't know how to fix this stuff. So here's how I suggest you to learn music production if you want to do it 10 times faster. So you need to see where you're at right now in your journey and focus on specific steps. So we have beginner, intermediate, and advanced. For beginner, it's important to focus on beat making / drum programming, writing melodies, making kick bass grooves because that's the foundation to the track, creating high quality ideas for your music, and learning sound selection, because here this stuff is 80% of a good track. Do not focus on sound design, do not focus on the arrangement, just focus on creating high quality ideas. And I had a coaching call earlier today with my clients and he asked me, so how do I know when to go from beginner to intermediate and to advanced? And the answer is simple. If you make a 16-bar loop, you make idea for your track like I did in the beginning, and if it sounds as good, or at least like 85% as good as the reference, and you keep doing that consistently, you can generate high quality ideas. Then you can jump into the next step. You can learn arrangement, you can turn your loops into full tracks, and you can start like recreating a little bit from your favorite tracks. And once you're comfortable with the arrangement, then we go to the last step. So you learn advanced sound design, mixing and mastering, and finishing the tracks that you are making. Because by focusing on one step at the time, you basically move like in a video game, level 1, level 2, level 3. Let's talk about quantity versus quality. And a lot of coaches, a lot of in any industry actually, are talking about that you need to get the quantity to get the quality, which is true, but there's a better way. And we can skip the sucking period where you make shitty tracks. So this is your first 100 tracks, right? It looks a little bit intimidating. Most likely, only like a few tracks, maybe 5, maybe 10, depends on you, right, will be good. The rest will be trash. And it sounds frustrating, I know, but bear with me. We're going to talk about how to overcome that. So let's do some math. You need to make a lot of music to achieve pro quality. If you spend 1 week making a track, it's only 4 tracks per month. That's 40 tracks per year in the most ideal case, right? If you're really good at music production. And 60% of viewers on my channel are struggling to finish one good track per month. So if you look at the bigger scale in a year, that's going to be about like 12, maybe 28 tracks for an average producer. And the problem is, half of those tracks will be trash. So you end up making 12 okay-ish tracks per year if you keep doing what you are doing now, right? And that's the big problem. Now let's talk about why you struggle with finishing tracks. You're struggling with finishing tracks because your ideas are bad. It's 10 times harder to make it sound good. You invest 10 times more effort and you still get shitty results. So yes, you can add bells and whistles to a shitty idea, but it will still sound like shit. So we can jump back into Ableton, and I didn't do any mixing. I didn't do anything to this track, really. I just spent like 30-40 minutes finding the loops, creating the idea. But even at this early stage, I can already identify that it's a good idea, and I'm gonna show you how it can stand face to face with the reference track. So like it's a good idea, even though it sounds not very polished. But if I spend a little bit more time on developing it, then it's gonna make sense. Like, I know that I'm investing my time into something good and I will get something from it. So once we compare this to the reference track, keep in mind that this is mastered, this is finished. It still sounds good. Like it can stand face to face, especially considering that I spent so little time on it. So I sent this track to a couple of producer friends and my coaching clients, and they told me that they like my idea even more, right? So it took me about 15 minutes to make this basic loop. The rest was like going to Splice and finding loops, but the actual thing, the foundation to the track, making the kick and the bass is very easy. So this is why this technique is so powerful. So we're going to talk about that, okay? Now let's talk about the big problem. Again, why you struggle to finish tracks. So a lot of producers, and I'm noticing that in my coaching sessions as well, they think about the technical stuff. So like 20%, what makes the idea good, right? It doesn't matter almost at all, but you focus on it too much. Right? What matters most is the track idea, and as you heard from my Ableton project, the idea is good, it's powerful, like it definitely makes sense to finish it. So what you need to do is you need to zoom out and you need to look beyond the technical stuff. And if the idea is good, sure, like go ahead, finish it, invest in it. But a lot of times, we can even take the same example. Oh, the kick and the bass are kind of muddy. So instead of moving the track like to the right and finishing it like this, right? I'm thinking horizontally, right? So moving to the right direction. Then you think about, you're so narrow-minded that you just think about this basic loop. And even just by looking at Ableton, can you really see the big picture? So trying to get the perfect drums, trying to get the perfect kick, bass, whatever. Does it make sense? I know that it doesn't, because I've been there myself. And I know that when you focus on the little picture, it's like you just end up wasting your time. So it doesn't have to sound perfect. It has to sound good enough. And that's the biggest mindset shift that I want you to do. So quantity versus quality. Again, imagine you'll be trying to finish every single of these ideas, right? So the shitty ideas. So instead of focusing on the good ones. So basically 80 to 90% of your effort goes to trash, and that's why you're not learning. And this is what I see with, again, a lot of my clients, including myself in the past, like a few years ago in 2018, I made an idea and I was like trying to push myself to finish it, right? But what if you just focus on the good ones? We can really take your skills to the next level. And this is the technique. So shortcut to learn music production faster. Create one 16-bar idea every day. Shoot for 5 ideas per week. Ideally 7, 1 hour per day. So set a standard for yourself and show up daily. You can find 60 to 90 minutes every day for music no matter what. And if you can't, like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you actually want to make music, or like are you just like living in illusion, like and bullshitting yourself? Because if music is something that you want to do in long term, if you have this dream, if this is your passion, if you're not consistent, let me ask you a question, like what are you doing in the first place? Maybe just go do something else. And not that I'm trying to demotivate you, this is like a real question. Like, what is your goal? Why are you doing this? So no matter if you're doing music or you have another passion, just to make an analogy, if you're not consistent, if you're not showing up, it just means that you don't really want it. So I'm pretty sure like you can find at least 30 minutes, ideally 1 hour per day. So, and it's going to move the needle. So if you can do 7 ideas per week, you will learn production faster than 90% of other music producers. So speaking of this concept, at least 1 out of 5 ideas that you make every week will be good. Okay, and now the best part about it. If you stick to the plan, you'll have 52 good ideas per year. And with this approach, possibly even more, right? So maybe 1 week you're gonna make like 2 ideas that will be good, and the next week it could be even 3 ideas, because the more you practice, it's like a muscle memory, right? So the more you do, the better you get. So focus on creating high quality ideas in the beginning, because you're still in the learning stage. You don't need to finish every single track. And we had a conversation with my client today in the coaching session, and I noticed that sure, you want to finish tracks, but be a little bit more humble, because a lot of times it's like this ego thing. You kind of want to prove it to yourself. Oh, I can make a track, or you want to prove it to others. Like whatever is the thing. But if you go step by step, you're just gonna achieve so much more. If you just okay, you know what? I'm more in the beginner stage right now. So why are you trying to jump to the next stage where like you haven't yet mastered and you haven't yet learned the skills? Because you're just going to be shooting yourself in the foot. And I know what I'm talking about because I've been there myself. So when you make a lot of ideas, you will also learn how to identify great ideas. You store them on your hard drive until you get plenty of them. Once you get to a level where 50% of your ideas are good, focus on finishing them. So like, it's not that you're not finishing the tracks. It's more like, okay, I'm just going to store them for a little bit. Let me practice the skill. And then it's just going to be 10 times easier to finish it, right? This is how much you will make in a month. That's really 25 potential tracks. Maybe it's going to be more than like 1 out of 5 ideas, right? So then you can be like, yeah, you can make this idea in like 15 minutes. So for me, it is super, super easy because I mastered my skills. I know how to do it. And I'm just giving you this system. I'm giving you the tools so you can do it faster. So the next thing is I want you to look at this visually. This is how many ideas you will make in a year. That's 240 ideas. It looks very, very big. And an average producer will make this much. That's like 48. And we could easily divide this by 2. This is how much an average producer will make if you just keep doing what you are doing right now. Because I know how you are learning. Trust me, because I've been there myself. Keep repeating that, but it's a dramatic difference. You will learn faster than 90% of music producers. I guarantee, absolutely, 100%. Okay, now let's talk about how do you actually create good ideas. So my process is very simple. So find a reference track that you like and start recreating your favorite elements, bass, drums, etc. Copy till the point you feel the idea is starting to sound good, and then get away from the reference and develop your original idea. So this is exactly what I did with my project. Yes, in the beginning, I wanted to copy a little bit more because I liked the track. It was cool. And then I was like, okay, let me maybe change the bass. Let me change this, and this. And at the end, you get a pretty like unique and an interesting track. sounds pretty similar to the reference, right? But the whole point about this is some of the elements will be very similar, will be the same, and some of the elements will be very different. So you should not use references as a creative limitation, but it's more like putting the pressure aside and just like, okay, here's an idea. Let me take it as a foundation and let me play with it so that you don't have to think, because especially in the beginning, you're just gonna struggle with creating unique, like original ideas from scratch. So why shoot yourself in the foot? Like, why overcomplicate it? Because I know it's very easy to overcomplicate. It's like it's a mental game, right? If you want to learn how to make good ideas, how to start tracks, how to finish tracks 2 to 4 times faster, 2 days ago, I posted this video, the best way to start a track, will help you to overcome perfectionism, creative and mental blocks. The link is going to be here. So just click on the link here. And let's talk about the next step with creating good ideas. So you want to put 80% of your effort into sound selection and idea creation. Because if you think of it, kick, bass, drums, and mids, so like leads and chords, this is 80% of the success. If you can get this right, then everything else will be so easy, right? And if you listen to this thing again, I didn't even do my drums from scratch. So like a lot of stuff you can actually use loops for, and I really suggest. So depending on what you're focusing on, we're going to talk about that in the next slide. You can use loops for this, because in the beginning you just want to move quickly. How can I create a lot of ideas? How can I practice? How can I develop a system? So I would say kick and the bass. Like in the beginning, if you're like intermediate, if you're a beginner, I'm making this video for you. Focus on the kick and the bass. And then after this, focus on creating good leads and drums for your tracks. And for the next few weeks, this should be the main focus. And the final slide, I want to give you this specific system. It's very important to analyze like what is happening, how you do it. As an example, let's take 1 month. Let's say you stick to the system. You want to look at your progress every week and listen to your ideas and analyze what areas you need to improve. So for example, let's say that you're good at creating drums, but you need to improve your kick and bass. So you can do exactly like I did. You just use loops for your drums to not waste time on creating that from scratch, because you need to prioritize your learning. You need to focus on the kick and the bass, and you just create a lot of kick and the bass loops. And then once you learn it, then you'll be able to generate good ideas. And then again, you don't focus on finishing that, you just focus on idea creation. So we can do like this. So for the whole next week, you're focusing on the kick and the bass. That's going to be your main focus. And you can break it down even further, like into a smaller section. So that could be like, okay, maybe I'm not even going to work on developing the whole idea. I'm just going to work on the kick and the bass groove. So we're just going to be creating something like this. Let's pretend that we are just creating kick bass. So nothing besides the kick and the bass, right? We just do like this. And then you make like 10, 20, 30, whatever, how many you need. Because if you make 30 small loops, small variations, ideas, you can analyze what is working. You can analyze what you like, and then just repeat the process. Because once you have systems, the reason why so many of you are struggling is because you're doing everything like randomly without understanding a clear structure and having a step-by-step plan. And then just repeat the process. Okay, kick and bass good. Now let me work on the leads, and then you just see like what you need to improve. You analyze and you do it like this. So that's pretty much it. That's the system. If you enjoyed this video and if you need help with your music, you want to take your music production skills to the next level, start releasing on labels, sound as good as your favorite artist, check the link down below, go to my website, let's have a chat. I would love to help you with your music. And don't forget to watch some of these suggestions here. I'm going to put some of the videos that you can watch as the next step, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.